Just after 10 o'clock here on a Wednesday morning. Good morning to you here as we break into our programming on WWL Plus to bring you the very latest on this weather impact alert day. Severe weather moving through the area. Let's get the very latest on the radar where conditions stand. Meteorologist Alexa Trischler standing by with that. How we looking?
We've had some extremely heavy rainfall this morning. It has really added up. And this morning we are dealing with some street flooding across the area. Also some power outages across the area, especially on the West Bank near Marrero. So here's a current look at our power outage map because of just how strong the winds were earlier this morning with this storm. And we can show you where the worst of the weather is happening now. So you remember the big storm that was impacting the city of New Orleans and Jefferson Parish. Now it is in St. Tammany Parish and moving across Lake Borgne. That's that thunderstorm that brought us the really strong winds and the big impacts across the city. That storm continues to push east and is pushing through Slidell, across the Twin Span, along Highway 90 and over the lake. Also, we're seeing some heavier showers starting to move into South Mississippi, crossing the Pearl River. And there's a severe thunderstorm warning in effect just south of Slidell, also into parts of South Mississippi right now in Hancock County, right along the coast, along I-10 and points southward in South Mississippi. The severe thunderstorm warning also extends through Lake Borgne down into the south towards Alluvial City and St. Bernard Parish. So that strong thunderstorm is continuing to push eastward. Slidell seeing some gusty winds and heavy downpours and some lightning with that stronger storm moving through now. So Slidell, really just south of the city of Slidell, was included in that severe thunderstorm warning at this point as the storm continues to push eastward. If we look back west of this big storm, you know, the storm coverage across the city and across Jefferson Parish has really let up. There are some lighter showers across New Orleans Metro, especially on the west bank of Wagaman, getting into River Ridge on the east bank. So some steadier showers approaching uptown New Orleans and approaching parts of Metairie. So moving through Metairie now, we've got some lighter showers and some pockets of heavier rain, but the biggest threats from that storm have ended for the city. But there is going to be more rain throughout the course of today. So I'll zoom out and you can look at the rest of the South Shore. We've got some strong storms happening down the bayou. So Thibodaux to Houma dealing with some heavier downpours along this corridor in Terrebonne Parish. Frequent lightning, probably some small hail possibly falling out of that storm. Some heavier downpours from Thibodaux to Houma and brief gusty winds. So we're seeing the storms fill in the South Shore completely. We really have some impactful storms luckily offshore in the Gulf of Mexico. So just south of the coastline offshore, we got a pretty big storm, and that is over the open water. So that is good news to report that that storm is just impacting offshore and over the water. If we look over to the North Shore now, current conditions, they really saw some heavy rain last night and throughout this morning. The North Shore now, it's not so bad. There are some pockets of heavier downpours in northern Tangipahoa Parish, but it's mostly light to moderate rain happening across the North Shore now for the most part. The only spot on the North Shore is just south of Slidell, and Slidell included is seeing that stronger storm push in now, but mainly talking just some scattered showers happening on the North Shore now. So we are going to toss things over to Brandon now to give us some more info.
Thank you, Alexa. And Alexa's looking at that radar there, heavy concentration off the coastline, but you see some red parts throughout the metro area. And with that and those gusts of winds, we are getting reports that in the West Bank, in the Marrero area near West Jefferson Hospital, they're dealing with some wind damage affecting an awning that was blown over. According to reports there, a power pole down. And that's what we're going to be seeing throughout the day, or at least high potential for that to happen with these heavy gusts of wind blowing through. Again, 30+ miles per hour. In one case, Alexa counted one that clocked in at 50 miles per hour. The wind's an issue, but when we see those red concentrated areas of heavy rainfall, flooding is a concern. The City of New Orleans' Sewage and Water Board says that they do have the pumping power necessary, but they do urge folks to stay out of low-lying areas, particularly when it gets heavy, as we're seeing right now. Timestamp 10:05 this Wednesday. Our Rachel Hanley has been out throughout the area throughout the morning. She's joining us now from the Carrollton, the canal underpass there, Rachel, which we can see the water behind you gushing. Is it open?
Yeah, that's why we wanted to show you all this, because this is a little bit strange. Whenever we got here about 5 or 10 minutes ago, the underpass was a lot more flooded. Cars were still driving through, but the lights were flashing, indicating that it was closed. On the Streetwise website on the city's site, it did say that this underpass was closed. Now it's looking a lot better. There's about half as much water as there was before. Cars don't seem to be having a problem, but this, I don't even know what to call it. Some kind of grate on this embankment has been gushing water the entire time we've been here. And whenever we got here, it was clearly contributing to the flooding on this side of Canal Boulevard, because the other side was not seeing any kind of flooding. It was only on this side that this grate was leaking water onto the road. So I took a video of it. I sent it to the press person for the Sewerage and Water Board, asking what this is and whether this could have been seriously contributing to the flooding this morning. And we'll let y'all know what we end up finding out. But it's very strange. It really is just hard to say anything about it at this point. I know that at this underpass in 2017, so that was 8 years ago now, there was a large water main here that broke that was causing similar issues to this. It looked kind of like this. It was contributing to flooding on this underpass. Impossible to know at this point whether this could be related to that or has anything to do with that, but we're going to keep trying to find answers, because this, as you can see, is a pretty significant amount of water. And this morning, whenever this rain was coming down, it was clear that it was contributing to the flooding in this underpass. So far, we've only seen this one and the Carrollton Avenue underpass be labeled as closed on Streetwise in the last hour or two. So it seems like the underpasses in the city are largely staying pretty clear. The Sewerage and Water Board said all the underpass pumps were working, besides two at the Carrollton Avenue underpass that goes under I-10. So something kind of strange here, a little bit of a mystery. We're going to let you know whatever we find out. But here, we can tell you for sure at the Canal Boulevard underpass, it is open now and it does seem to be drivable. We're going to check out the Carrollton Avenue one as well and see what we can tell you all there.
All right, Rachel, we do thank you for moving about the area. You and your photographer, be careful out there. And Rachel's showing us the condition where she is there, the canal underpass, letting us know that a few minutes ago there was significant water, but it drained, working to get to the bottom of that. But that seems to be an indicator that the pumps are working. Again, officials from the Sewage and Water Board did tell us that they were confident that the city's pumps would be able to keep up with rain today. Of course, a lot of eyes and ears paying attention to that after the significant flooding we saw in many ways by surprise some 2 weeks ago. As we take a live look at the NOLA Streetwise map right now, you heard Rachel talking about this, and this is a way to track not only traffic incidents but also reported street flooding. We are seeing it at the 5000 block of Ogentilly, at the intersection of Washington and Annunciation, Josephine and South Derby, Chippewa and Felicity, Wilton and Warrington, Eagle and Oak Street. So there are locations throughout the area, as you can see a scrolling down of that. Now, we want to emphasize that this is reported street flooding, and there were some instances where perhaps the markers may have indicated there was flooding, and once we got a camera out there, that flooding had subsided. So that could be an indicator, again, of the pumps doing what they are supposed to do, and that is work. City officials with the Sewage and Water Board say that that is what they expect to happen today as we continue to track this weather event, which will be all day rain going throughout our areas. So with that, let's get back over to Alexa.
Yeah, that's right. The rain will continue throughout this morning and into the early afternoon. Showers have let up across the city, but there's still going to be standing water across the city of New Orleans because of just how heavy the rain was just about an hour ago. So make sure you drive carefully. You will be dealing with some street flooding this morning. Big puddles, big ponding, a big inconvenience out there. So make sure you always turn around, don't drown, do not drive into any flooded roadways that you do encounter. A current look at what's happening with the rain and storms. That strong storm is continuing to push off to the east, moving through Lake Borgne, moving through South Mississippi and into Slidell, and just points southward of Slidell is where that strong storm is now. If I zoom in closely, a lot of it over the open water, but it is headed towards Bay St. Louis. So South Mississippi will be seeing that strong storm pushing in. Slidell still dealing with some heavy rain and some gusty winds within that thunderstorm and frequent lightning too. Some heavier showers and storms also pushing through East St. Bernard Parish. Down the bayou and for our coastal spots, a lot of rain happening now, and we'll continue to to see some heavier downpours for Thibodaux and Homa over the next several hours, and for our coastal spots from Galliano to Grand Isle. Also for Lower Plaquemine, some heavier showers and strong storms blowing in from the coast. And looking ahead to the North Shore now, some steady and soaking showers in a few spots, mostly light rain for Washington Parish and most of St. Tammany, but we've got some heavy rain in northern Tangi along I-55. Our river parishes seeing some heavier downpours with these thunderstorms rolling in now. So we're going to continue to see some pretty rough and unsettled weather throughout the morning and into the early afternoon hours. It looks like models are indicating by this evening things should be drying up, but at least for the next several hours, you could be dealing with some flooding. You could be dealing with some gusty winds within these thunderstorms and lightning. So make sure you stay weather aware today. You take it easy when you're driving out there. You have your rain gear with you, and you prepare for maybe some more localized street flooding throughout the course of the morning and into the afternoon. But by tonight, by the evening commute, things will be trending down, winding down, and drying up. But there is going to be that chance for more rain and storms in the forecast tomorrow and Friday. So the rest of the week, we'll be watching situations that could arise like this. I think today is our worst day when it comes to the weather. This is kind of the highest risk for flooding and bad storms today, but we still have to be kind of vigilant about what's to come in the coming days, tomorrow and Friday, with more storms in the forecast. Brandon.
That is right, Alexa. Vigilance is the word of the day. That's also our focus here at WWL Louisiana as we keep our eyes on the conditions outside, from our radar perched atop to our cameras perched down below on the streets. We're going to continue to break in with developments here on the half hour WWL Plus. Stay with us.